Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is K-se라세라 in America. Today's video is on the day I visited the Unification Observatory. I remember getting educated about unification as a child, but it was interesting to see the benefits of unification explained. The demilitarization zone is close by but not open to the public. It was cool since it was my first time seeing it even in photos. Next, there was a section that was introducing cities in North Korea. I assume it's similar to the metropolitan cities in Korea. It was informative as they not only talk about the characteristics of each city but also had pictures of them. I didn't know they had a specific term for Pyongyang like they do for Seoul. I got to learn a little bit more about North Korea, a topic that isn't really discussed often in the media. We finished with the city familiar to people in South Korea for their cold noodle, hamhung. Now, we arrived on the floor that had the telescopes. They had a topographic map explaining where we are and major buildings in both countries, which was so different with what I remember from when I visited as a kid, where they had nothing but a few telescopes. It has developed so much. It was shocking to realize the closest location was around 1,500 feet away from South Korea. Not only with the topographic map, they also had figures drawn on the window, so it was easy to tell what you were looking at. But still, it's too far away for one to see with bare eyes, so there was a tablet where you could circle around the video footage by touch. This made me realize how much the Korean technology has developed over time. I wonder what the people on the other side would think if they knew we can watch them like this. But on here, it just looks like a normal village in the countryside, right? So there was another large tablet explaining what each building was used for. That was an army guard post. I have never been to a threshing floor in Korea, so that's cool. And the most important part of North Korean society, Kim Il-sung Cultural Hall. Other parts of the town reminded me of how South Korean society looked in the 80s to 90s. I was wondering if they got rid of the telescopes, but they didn't. It was very windy, just like how it was on the day I came as a kid. I thought it wouldn't be interesting enough for my husband if it hadn't changed much. But it has become a totally different place. I would love to bring him here. There were some photos depicting the lifestyle of North Korean citizens. I don't know when these were taken, but this reminded me of Korea in the 80s to 90s as well. I mean, these are of people who live in a place like Gangnam, which means the rest of the population live in a condition that is not even comparable to that of people in South Korea. So I thought it would be more realistic if there were photos of those people too. There was a section of the previous president's handwritten words for the desire of unification. It was odd that there wasn't one by the last president though. Last exhibit, titled Piano of Unification, was a bit unique. It was made with steel from the steel cage, the symbol of the militarization zone. I wonder if today will actually you could go from Seoul to Paris by train. After looking around the Unification Observatory, we came to a cafe and it was ginormous. There was a huge botanical garden inside the cafe. We came upstairs to a table where you could see the whole garden in a glance. You could hear the sound of a waterfall somewhere, so it was relaxing just by sitting there. The desserts only had their names and no descriptions, and the staff didn't say much when I asked about it, so I don't really know what it is. But this wasn't my first time coming to a cafe where the price was mostly for the view, so I was making the most out of it. When my father told me there was a table open in the section that was popular in this cafe, so we moved and the view from the table was a field, it would have been prettier if we came when the sun was setting. Since we went on a weekday, there weren't that many people at the cafe, but I assume this place gets packed on weekends. And there were a ton of sofa seats downstairs. It made me feel like I was in an amusement park. As we are already here, it would be odd not to look around the botanical garden. It felt much more like Hawaii than Korea. And there were chairs here and there for you to take photos at. There was a random unnamed character hiding, which was cute. With a little exaggeration, I found some fountains. It felt like I found an oasis. It made me wonder what my husband would say if I brought him here. Let's finish up looking around the cafe now and go eat dinner. The menu for today's dinner was tonkatsu. I was interested in the Nagoya-style meal, but we decided to get the regular ones. The inside of the restaurant looked similar to tonkatsu restaurants I went to in Japan. There was a bit of a line before coming in, so I was curious if it was that good. And yes, it was that good. It's hard to edit this because it reminds me of how flavorful it was. We decided to order some fried oysters as well, and it was just amazing. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe.